Former President Donald Trump has said, yes, he would, in fact, consider former Fox News host Tucker Carlson as a potential running mate in 2024. He said this while being interviewed on the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton show. Let's listen.
Would you consider Tucker Carlson on your VP list? I want to give you a hypothetical here. You're a big sports fan. You know, like Nick Saban's going to retire at some point. And if you talk to the athletic director at Alabama, he would say he has a list. So would Tucker Carlson be on your list of potential VPs? And how many names might be on that list as you sit and look and survey the political field?
Well, first of all, you know, I did my first, you could call it counter-programming, but I won't call it that. But Tucker wanted to do an interview during the first debate. And I think you know, because this is what your business is, we broke every record.
Monster audience.
In history, yeah. I think it just hit over 300 million people. But it was for that evening over 207 million. It then got to 275 within a day or two. And the biggest ever was Oprah's interview with Michael Jackson, which was 125 million. So we almost doubled it. Now, who would have thought that was going to happen? The debate, the last debate they had the lowest audience in the history of presidential debates. I don't know if you know it. And I think the one tonight is not, it's on tonight, and I don't even talk about it.
Would you consider Tucker, though, that they based on those
I
numbers?
like Tucker a lot. I guess I would. I think I'd say I would, because he's got great common sense. You know, when they say that you guys are conservative or I'm conservative, it's not that we're conservative. We have common sense. We want to have safe borders. We want to have a wall because walls work. You know what, Ron, I used to say about walls? I'd say wheels and walls. Everything changes. The computer...
So that got some pickup online yesterday by conservatives. Trump saying that he would potentially name Tucker as his running mate. To be clear, Tucker has never expressed any interest in running or as running mate or running for president. In fact, he specifically said that he would not do that. He will never do that. He's totally opposed to doing that. People keep floating his name on his behalf. He does not have any interest in it, but they float his name on behalf because they think he's an interesting figure. And, you know, despite once saying that he hates Trump passionately, he has interviewed him on his show, and it did, by the numbers Trump's citing. Now, of course, they're not exact comparisons because Twitter counts every time you happen to scroll past the video, depending on how long you watched it. It's still...
And if you have the most followed Twitter account on Twitter, like Elon Musk retweeting your videos, then you're going to get a lot of pickup. A lot of eyes are going to scroll past
that's fair.
it.
That's all fair.
I do think it's interesting that the host there put Trump in this weird position, because we disagreed about this a little bit, but watching the counter programming after the first debate, I did see some tension. I did detect some tension between them. Trump is not someone who forgives easily or ever, and who has a very long memory, who seems to be able to recall bizarre slights from the 1980s, often to great comedic effect. And so the idea that he would have forgotten that Tucker Carlson said that he hates him passionately in the Dominion lawsuit disclosure.
Yeah, I don't think he holds it against him, but they seem to have made up just fine. I think Trump understands that was frustration given the situation going on, and Tucker's still on board with what Trump was trying to do with the Republican Party. But that's not me with any insider knowledge. maybe I'm just projecting.
Tucker's a smart guy, and I think he is savvy and a savvy business person who knows what side of where his bread is buttered. And obviously they've made some kind of amends and have come to a détente. But Trump's personality is not a forgive and forget kind of personality.
Well, also, he's not going to pick someone who could potentially, not that anyone can easily overshadow him, but he's going to want, he wants a booster, sure, right? He wants a...
Right, but even, another example of this is that he made up with Megyn Kelly. And even in his interview where he was had made up with Megyn Kelly, I have to remember saying that she was asking him bad debate questions in his view because she was on her period or whatever. He made an allusion to it. He made a little bit of, even in their makeup chat, he tends to be a little bit provocative. It's not what I think most of us would perceive as kind of genuine apologies. It's more like, you bent the knee, you kissed the ring, we can move forward. I've forgiven, but I've not forgotten. That seems to be his MO. And I'm not saying that to diss him or anything. I'm just reading between the lines of his reluctance to say, yeah, Tucker Carlson would be a great running mate.
Yeah.
Trump has floated all kinds of people as his running mate. He loves the kind of fantastical, magical thinking. You know, he's still in his head, obviously, in some kind of ratings race with Oprah Winfrey. Like, this is a guy who likes a big headline, and I think a world where he didn't have some of these personal issues and maybe concerns about being overshadowed by Tucker Carlson, he would be happy to just entertain that kind of a lark.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Speaking of Megyn Kelly,
Yeah.
It was just announced this morning that News Nation, which is a sister brother channel, I don't know what gender the channel is, to us at The Hill, we have the same parent company, Nexstar. They will be hosting the next debate on December 6th, and actually Megyn Kelly will be one of the moderators, along with Elizabeth Vargas, who hosts a news program on News Nation, and also Eliana Johnson, who's editor-in-chief of the Washington Free Beacon. Trump obviously will not be attending that debate, or we don't have any reason to think he will be attending that debate, so not an opportunity for a Trump-Megyn Kelly rematch, sadly.
Well, they're friends now. And I think the word you were looking for was nibbling. That's the gender-neutral word for sibling, for a brother or sister.
What?
Nibbling.
Say that again?
I thought you'd like that.
Nibbling?
Another Trump news. The former president's daughter, Ivanka Trump, testified yesterday in the New York civil fraud trial against her father, during which Attorney General Letitia James focused on alleged loan negotiations involving Deutsche Bank. And Ivanka distanced herself from her apartment's valuation on Donald Trump's financial statement, according to CNN.
Letitia James said in a statement, Ivanka Trump was cordial, she was disciplined, she was controlled, and she was very courteous, but her testimony raises questions with regards to the credibility. The reality is that based on the evidence, the documentary evidence, she clearly was involved in negotiating, securing loans, favorable loans for the benefit of the Trump organization, for Mr. Trump and her brothers, and for herself.
Yeah, I mean, Ivanka said basically as soon as Trump was out of office that she wants no more part of this. She's living her life. I think she's wanting to go back to being a fashion mogul and
she wants to go back to not
New
being
York life.
disliked.
And yeah, look, they were all liberal Hillary Clinton donors before her father ran for president. Her father was a Hillary Clinton donor before he ran for president.
Her husband, Jared Kushner, was a Democrat.
Yes.
And continued to be a Democrat throughout his vast policy powers he had over the administration. And that's a criticism a lot of conservative Trump supporters have, of that things went wrong from the very beginning when they put Ivanka and Jared Kushner, two Democrats, in charge of economic and foreign policy.
Mm-hmm. I mean, she used to be a part of in a world where she and her husband and her brother-in-law and his model wife, Carly.
Her and her nibblings. Her and her nibblings.
Yes, Robby.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. They used to be able to all go out together and go to fashion parties and have a wonderful, good old time in their hometown of New York City. And I suspect that they're not as welcome around the Thanksgiving table.
I remember in one of the debates between Hillary and Trump, the moderator, I can't remember who it was, it might have been Jake Tapper, I don't remember, challenged each of them to say something nice about the other person. And Hillary said, well, I like his children, which shows because they had a friendship with Chelsea Clinton.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think Trump said that he respects that she's such a fighter. She's not letting this go easily, the whole election
I remember that debate.
Yeah. I think they started walking around each other.
That was the one. I think it was on, I don't know why I remember this, Canadian Thanksgiving. I was at a big
I couldn't
party,
pick a
like
day.
a friend's house.
Does Canadian Thanksgiving happen near?
It's in October. It's like a month before ours, I think.
All right.
And it was an interesting experience watching that debate with a bunch of Canadians, looking at our politics through their lens. And seeing two not very good options battle to rule the strongest, wealthiest country on the planet.
In South Park, Donald Trump overthrows the government of Canada and becomes president of Canada. That was the plot line that they chose there. So maybe they have a special fear of that taking place.
They can have them.
More Rising right after this.